Welcome to the Stone Soup Recovery Podcast. Your host, Adam and Sean, will talk about their lives and living in recovery.
Hello and welcome to Stone Soup Recovery Podcast. My name is Adam.
And I'm Sean.
How you guys doing tonight? On tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about how addiction has affected our families and how also recovery is affecting our families, which I think are two very distinct things that are poignant in our lives. I know for myself, addiction has affected my family in a lot of different ways, depending on who you talk to. My mother and I, we were close. We used to drink together back in the day, and then later on in life, my drinking became more than her drinking, and I wasn't allowed to drink at her house anymore. Oh yeah. So that's how that went. It affected my relationships with going to jail for different things, being arrested, drunk and disorderly. And to this day, you know, there's still family members that I don't talk to.
Yeah.
And I completely wish that was different.
Well, it's not too late.
No, it's not. And that's the beauty about recovery. For me, it's important that, I look at the past, like the big book says, I look at the past, but I don't wish to shut the door on it. Mm-hmm. And so it's important to me to remember when my daughter has told me what she felt like when I was away. And the estranged relationship that I have with my sisters, it's all because of drinking, either directly or indirectly. I believe that. That and, undiagnosed bipolar that caused problems. And I've talked about that before in the past. And I was always somebody who, when I drank, I thought I was having fun. I was the king of the party, and
Yeah, I think it was different for me because when I would drink, I shut down.
You shut down?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't play guitar. My first drink, I can't play guitar after that. Like that's the one thing that I truly love in this life, and it's the one thing that is taken away from me when I'm drinking.
See, me, I would play guitar thinking I was great, and in reality, I was just horrible. I was just hitting notes, thinking I was, Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, I kind of started after when I would start to drink, I would feel a little lost around the guitar, like things weren't as familiar, and I knew that I was messing up, and so yeah, I couldn't play. So if I was to play out, I was always sober at that time because I couldn't drink or I wouldn't be able to play.
Right.
Anyway,
alcohol takes a lot from us, and one of them being our talents.
Mm-hmm.
I put down the guitar for a while too, quit playing. It happens. It takes everything good from us. There's nothing good left, and my family knew that too. My family tried with me in the beginning. They did.
Did they have an intervention?
Sort of. It was sort of an intervention. My little sister was there. My mom was there. My other sister wasn't. And then a couple friends. And they're just like, hey, man, you're drinking every day. You're drinking way too much. Mm-hmm. You're drunk all the time. Hell, I was drunk then when they were talking to me about it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they did try. And they did try to give me an intervention. But I didn't listen. I didn't see it for what it was at the time. I just thought that they were attacking me.
Yeah. Yeah, you were on guard.
I was on edge. Like, how dare you
defensive.
come? Yes.
Protecting your drinking.
Yeah. Like, how dare you? Mm-hmm. Who do you think you are?
Coming between me and my alcohol.
Me and my alcohol.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how it was. I loved my family, and I love them to this day very, very much. But at the time, I loved alcohol more, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah.
Alcohol became my everything. It became my best friend and my lover, and hell, I wrote songs about it. So yeah, alcohol came between me and my family. It came between me and my freedom. It came between me and everything that I owned. I lost everything. But through recovery, I've gotten all that back and more. And it's just been amazing. I'm still working on my family, people in my family. That'll take time. And
well, I think that when you have sobriety, especially when you have several years behind you, it shows that, yes, I'm serious now. Yes, I'm going to do this time. Here's the proof. It's not like you've only been sober for, a couple of months or something.
Right.
Now if you were to approach them, it might be a lot easier because you can say, hey, I've been sober for 2 years.
I have been sober for 2 years, and something I'm sitting here wondering is, I don't think since I was young 20s, I've been drunk, and I don't think they've ever seen me truly on my medication, not the right medication that I'm on now.
Yeah.
And so their idea of who I am is different than the reality of what I actually am. And so I don't know what it's going to take for them to see that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say. They may never see that,
May never. I know. But like I said, I would drink and I would think that I was the life of the party. And towards the end of things, I started drinking alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found myself alone and drinking. And I would kind of close myself off from the world.
Yeah, that's what I did too. I drank alone. I didn't drink with anybody really.
No.
And not really. I mean, I would at times, I had my friends and different people that were in my life and, who were kind of actually instigators in my drinking at the time when I really needed to stop drinking at that time. And they weren't helping me. They were, helping.
You.
Yeah, they were helping, giving me more.
Yeah.
But but for the most part, at the end, I drank alone. I isolated. I drank alone. I didn't want to be around anybody. I knew the minute that I started drinking, my speech changed. Everything about me changed. I could feel it, and I just didn't want anybody else to be around that. I didn't want anybody. I was embarrassed by it.
You were embarrassed by it. See, for me, I just was drinking alone because no one wanted to drink with me. A big part of it. Yeah. Because I'd get out of control. And it isolates us. Yeah. Alcohol isolates people. It gets you alone, and then it just beats the hell out of you. At least that's what it did to me. I was alone at the end. Till that preacher found me in that dirty hotel room. It sounds like a blues song.
I'm sure it is.
But it's a true life story. I met a preacher in a dumpy motel. And through that meeting, I found salvation. And I found recovery. And I found redemption in my life. And that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot. Because when I met him, I had nothing. I felt in my head that I was nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but boy, did your life change from then forward, right?
It has changed. It's just been an upward trajectory ever since, and doing this podcast is amazing to me. I never would have thought that I'd be somebody who would be given a microphone and said, here, talk to the world, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And share the message of recovery and share the message of hope, and just let you know that you don't have to drink today, and that there's better ways. If there's better ways, you can do it. It can be done, and
I think one of the best ways too, is to find your local AA meeting and find other people who are like you, who are thinking the same thoughts that you are, who've been in the same boat you have, who have all those same feelings and can really lift you up. And you're going to find that at your local AA chapter.
Like-minded individuals seeking sobriety. Seeking sobriety. Instead of seeking sobriety, I used to seek oblivion.
Yeah.
I really did. And unfortunately, I found it more often than not. So there I was, isolated and oblivious, because of alcohol, but it does get better. It does get better, and
you have to want it, but
you have to want it, and you have to work for it. There's somebody asked me the other day. I was on another friend's podcast, and 217 Recovery podcast, and we were talking about relapse prevention, and someone said, how do you do it? And I know for a lot of people in recovery, boring days are bad. Like, to be bored and to have idle hands is bad. And I mentioned that I liked boring days. Boring days were good. For me, boring days are still good in recovery. And the way that we did it is just one day at a time, and in the beginning, like I said, when I got baptized, I lost that compulsion to drink. I lost it. It was gone. It was taken from me. I had a spiritual awakening, and I've been changed ever since. And I can't tell enough people about it. My life is better today in recovery than my worst day in recovery is better than my best day in active addiction. If that makes any sense at all to you.
Yeah.
I know that one day, I'm hoping one day my family will come around and we'll be able to sit down and talk and have a valid discussion. I'm hoping that happens.
Yeah. Well, it might.
You're
going to have to pursue it, though, I think.
I think so, too.
It's not going to just happen for you.
Yeah, I think so, too.
But that's okay.
See, my situation with my family was a little bit different with Lee than with you and yours. You were, from what I understand, kind of just quiet. Yeah. It really didn't impact them a whole lot.
Well, I didn't really have a drinking problem until, they were grown. So, yeah, as I was saying, I didn't really have a drinking problem until they were grown adults and on their own and doing their own thing. And so it really didn't affect them too much, I don't think. They may tell you differently, but I don't know if they even knew I had a drinking problem at the time, to be honest.
Right.
I kept it pretty quiet.
Yeah. Pretty under the shadows, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you afraid that they'd ever find out?
I was kind of afraid that anybody would find out. I was in denial. Yeah, I knew I had a problem. So,
yeah,
if that makes sense,
I understand that completely. I understand that completely. I used to get drunk and call people and talk about wanting to go to rehab.
Right.
But I was drunk.
Right.
So, but I knew I had a problem.
Yeah.
But it was that problem that alcoholics have is that we can't get away from that drink. When we're in active addiction. Yeah. It's right at your fingertips.
Yeah, kind of like I'll do it tomorrow. I know I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to do it yet.
Not yet. Maybe tomorrow. I'll think about it.
I gotta get a few more things done first and do a few more things.
I
Yeah.
gotta drink some more beer.
Yeah.
Think
Well,
about
yeah,
going
that
to,
too.
think about going to rehab, drink some more beer. Yeah. I had such a wonderful ride. There was a couple that gave me a ride to rehab, and
I remember I talked to you on the phone and you were drunk,
I was
drunker than a skunk.
I was, and I went to go get in the car, and he's like, you can't have that in here, and I was like, okay, but
Well, give me just a minute so I can drink it.
and
Right?
I did. And I stepped out, and I was like, yeah, I'm okay, and that was the last beer I had.
Yeah.
And thank God, Corey Winfield and Marnie Winfield over at 217 Recovery Podcast, they run a transportation service, and they do the same thing. And I think it's awesome that there's something like that, because I know that guy that come and picked me up, he was so awesome, and his wife was so awesome, and they were so kind to me.
I think, didn't they feed you?
Yeah, they fed me too.
Yeah. You hadn't eaten in a while or
Yeah.
something. And they were like, all right, well, let's go hit the local McDonald's or.
No, I think we stopped at a restaurant, and I got
Oh, was it a restaurant?
Yeah.
I thought it was just fast food or something.
no,
It was on the way.
No, I got some real food in me for the first time in days,
Mm-hmm.
because I had been sleeping on somebody's floor,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, good times,
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, things are better in recovery. I mean, I don't have those same problems,
Yeah.
and then I have to evaluate a problem today and recognize that if it's a real problem, is it an exaggerated problem, or is it something that my bipolar is telling me is a problem? So, and generally speaking, problems today are a lot less harsh than they were just a few years ago.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you've come back from all of that. And
Me too. I'm glad you've come back from all of that.
me too.
I don't know where I don't know where I'd be if I wouldn't have met Zach.
Right.
I really don't. I owe that guy a lot. He literally changed the direction of my life, and that's pretty amazing. Because not everybody can say that.
Right.
That they met somebody that literally changed their life. And this guy, he took me by the hand and helped me get to rehab, and him and I have been friends ever since.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah. Before we lose our power, it's kind of windy out there today.
We got a big
Well,
storm.
this evening. He's got the fire going in here. It's nice and cozy,
Yeah.
but the people all around us have lost their power. So I'm kind of waiting for that to happen.
So until it does, we'll be here. We'll be working on the next podcast. Thanks for listening to us. Yeah, we're Stone Soup Recovery Podcast. My name is Adam.
And I'm Sean.
Bye.
Hey guys, listen up.
Hey, we just wanted to give a shout out to our friends over at 217 Recovery Podcast, Corey and Marnie. They're great people. They got a wonderful podcast going. That's 217 Recovery Podcast. Tune in and give them a listen.